Got all the drawers and all, and that half the kitchen now is more or less complete, except for the worktops to go on, the hobs to go on, and the hob needs wired up. Forgot to put the back on. We got the back on again. This is the hardest bit of the kitchen, this side. No problem doing the wall cupboard, but I want to get this done. Make sure that the wall cupboard line up with this first. There's problem number one. I bought that thing 12 years ago. Should have moved into the house, but I couldn't get the other one out, so it's never used. Lay up in the attic. It's got two basins. That piece of wood has to come out because that sink there. The second sink's where the basin is. So it ain't going to fit with that wood in there. Margaret with the pipes. That's the height the pipes are in my old unit. So as long as I've got pipes coming out of the wall here, so I'll line this up first. Get that piece of wood out, line this up, and get the pipes roughly where the mixer taps is going to be. The waste. My old kitchen. I'll just show my old kitchen here. There's only a very small 800mm unit. It's very tight. The dishwasher hose comes in the side and it's going into one of these wee boys here. But the problem with that there is there's no U-bend on that dishwasher hose. A U-bend will stop any, if there's any smelly water in the dishwasher, it won't stop it coming up. And they also took the water off the main pipes with the adapter. That's how they fed the water to the dishwasher. I have the side panel off the bath here. Originally I was thinking of knocking a hole in the wall there. You see the 4 holes in the wall? I thought, well, if I take the whole wall away, make a big square and cut into them pipes. One of them was the fresh water that's going up to the attic to fill the feeder tank. So that's the main cold water. The other one is the hot water that's coming from the hot press. That's the big pipe. And that would need to go to a reducer. But the problem is that I'm going to have to take away a big bit of wall without damaging the pipes. Dodgy enough, like. And then I was looking down here then, and I bought a new pipe cutter so I could cut one of these pipes, but wee bit of way down in the back, the pipe is smooth. There's too much shite on it here when they put the bath on. You know where you could join onto that. And I even thought, well, see that big T there? I could put another T onto that T for the hot water to feed the bath and feed the kitchen. Rejig them around. It's going to take a bit of rejigging, but once I cut into these pipes, then I need a torch. Once I cut into these pipes, I've got to get a hole drilled on the other side of the room to match up, and they're pretty spread apart as it is. So that's going to be the hardest bit, is actually getting the water into the kitchen. So when the water comes into the kitchen through here, so I'll smash the hole through this side. The water needs to branch off down to the sink, but also needs to go up to make an outdoor tap. I need an outdoor tap outside as well. It's all going to be very tight, like. So the cold and the hot, they can't cross over each other. So all I can do is join on the other side. I can't make no alterations to the other side. If I can get a connection, I get a connection. It comes out where it comes out. And when it comes out, then I've got to try and get it the right way. Washing machine's going on here. They've been on a U-bend. So I'm thinking of just keeping my U-bend. See, there's a thing too, the pipes is coming here. So you can't put a U-bend with those pipes. So if the pipes is higher up, see it's complicated. It is complicated. Well, my old sink has the drain underneath the cupboard. They actually got a grating underneath in the kitchens when they built them. So that makes it a lot easier. Your waste pipe just goes straight down. So I gotta get the waste pipe out here. So the only way I can get the waste pipe out is to keep it down low. That's alright. But I've got to get a U-bend onto this washing machine. Now the washing machine, that's decorative panel. That's decorative panel. There's no reason why I can't make that panel short. You cannot see coming in the road. You cannot see that. And I can even put my waste pipe in this wall if I needed to. Bring the pipe out. Leaves plenty of room for the machine. I've also got to bring the electrics down to it. Until I get the machine over, I don't know where to put the actual 13 amp socket. That'll just go to a 13 amp socket. You don't really want to put sockets too low in case the machine starts leaking water. The water goes into the top. So if I've got room to get a socket up here, I'll put the socket up here. And you plug the machine in, and then you work the machine up and down here like. But then again, we'll wait to see. And if worst comes to worst, I can bring it across here. I wouldn't bother burying the wire behind there, so it wouldn't so anybody comes not going to drill into it. So I'll get the machine. She's fallen down already, boys. We'll get the machine on. I suppose I need to patch up the floor before I try to bring a machine in here. But washing machine's the toughest bugger to move, like. It's a 9 kilogram machine I have, a ton of weight. But today now is getting the plumbing. I'm going to bash a hole through. It's the idea you drill a whole nice hole. Bashing the hole through is actually the easiest to work at from this side. But the only thing of bashing the hole through this side, although it's a big hole at the end of the day, you can patch it up. You can get better access to the pipes eventually, but the pipes aren't going to move because it's going into the hot press on this side. There's no wriggle with the pipes and how you get the connectors on. Well, on this side, they didn't put the plumbing on too well. They cut it short. It's off the wall, so it leaves plenty of room for me to push the pipe away. So I think I'm going to bring the plumbing in from there. So we'll start off, I think, with the mains water. If I can get the mains water connected up today, bring in a wee pipe here and put on and off on them and get my water back on tonight, that's enough for today. Just get the water into the kitchen. So I might tackle that. I'll order the other stuff when I'm at it, and if I get too much I'll always take it back. I'll go to a local plumber for this stuff. I'm not going to go to B&Q or Screwfix. See, a wee job like this now, I wouldn't mind paying £300 odd like for a plumber to come and do that. It'd probably be 600, and it'd probably take 6-12 weeks to do it. And that's the problem, and you can't get anybody to do anything for you, like. So I'll get the torch out now. I'm going to have to just start cracking holes in. I'll drill pilot holes first to get a rough idea where things is going. Underneath my bath, I've got 22mm pipe, and it has a plastic T-piece on it. And that T-piece is going to the bathtub. Just thinking, there's a T-piece, straight bit of pipe, and then a corner pipe that goes to the bath. It's push fit. I don't know how to unpush it. Different push fits have different tools. It's probably put on 15 years ago. Could be outdated now, like. Because it's plastic, there's no nuts. I have a limited space. I'm going to disconnect the bath taps. I'm going to twist this pipe up so she's pointing this way then. So that pipe then becomes this way, so hiring it up. And then I'm going to put on another T-piece. That'll then go to the bath tap, and that'll then go to the kitchen. Similar job with the 15mm pipe. I'm going to cut it behind the bath, and so the pipe is coming along. I'm going to cut it and put on a T-piece, and then it curves on around the end of the hot press. There's the bathroom wall, and from that down I'll have to put on a 90-degree bend on, and that'll bring the water to the kitchen. And hopefully these two sort of end up together. I haven't got a clue, but between the pipes where they are now at the minute, where they are sort of coming in between, and I've roughly guessed it's 8 inches up will be in between. But when I move that pipe from there to there, I don't know the exact where it's going to exactly come out until I actually move it, and I have to turn the water off before I do all that. But I'm limited to the pipes already on the wall, because these pipes are already on the wall. Can't go any higher than that. I can't get my hand on, so it's going to have to come out between those 8 inches. I bought these butts here and little. Now the last thing I bought on Amazon to do the sockets was a disaster. So this is little stuff. Hopefully this will do it here. It's 2 butts. Never used one of these before. Do you see the butts there come separate? And it's got a wee flat bit on it. Wee flat bit. So what you do then, you get your wee crank, you open up the screw, and you put your butt in until the flat bit hits the screw and tighten the screw. So there's 2 sizes there. That'll do my waste pipe. So the waste pipe will go right there. It's not going to go through the whole wall. You have to do each side individually. So of this big long bit here, I've even got a longer one than that. So that'll go through the wall. And then once I get the bit through the wall, I'll use this wee one then to drill through. So the 2 line up. That's of the waste pipe. But I've got to get the water pipe on first. That's today's project, get the water pipe on. So I'm going to start off now. I'm going to draw through here, roughly 8 inches. So take the diameter. I want it as close as possible, depending on how tight this machine here can get in. So I'll put the bottom, see how tight it gets in. I can't tape it all, because it's going to be dust and noise. And I've only got one hand. And the pipe's on the other side. This still got water in them. If I go too hard at it and accidentally hit the pipe, there's going to be a flood. So I'll draw a pilot hole through first, take a look on the far side to see where it comes out. And if it needs to go a wee bit, I can draw another pilot hole. Or down a wee bit, draw another pilot hole. And once I get the pilot hole right, then I'll go on where the pilot hole's right with this one here. That's the idea anyway. So I'll mark how close this machine can get. Once it gets pretty close, that's the machine there. If you're really stuck, you can take the handle off, get it a bit tighter, or turn it upside down. So going by the size of my butt, that's pretty close at that, like. But say it's closer to the wall, the better. If it doesn't get close enough, I can get the can going, just can go a bit out. When I bring my pipes in then, I'm just thinking, there needs to be an outdoor tap. They see to get a compression joint. You cannot tighten the compression joint up and have the pipes level with the wall, because the joint's going to be in, so a plastic fitting would be handy for that. But then how close can a plastic fitting be before you get it? See, the big, that's what solder fittings take up a lot less space. You can do all sorts of tight turns and all with solder fitting, but that might be complicated getting the outdoor tap. Have to go somewhere along there. So today's project is get the pipes through the wall. If I get the pipes through the wall and have a wee on-off valve on them, I can sort the rest out from there. I can work out then where what's going where and all the rest, where the drain pipes go and stuff. But I've got to get them through the wall, because that's a big job on its own. If I'm really stuck, if I keep the coal to the bottom and come through a 90-degree bend, I'm going a wee T-piece. And from the T-piece, see, it could be too close to get the pipe bender there. So, you know, even if, it wouldn't matter, I put a 90-degree bend on. 90-degree bend. So it should fit. The pipe is better, but the pipe's not touching the wall. When they put the pipe on the far side, it's out from the wall already, like. So as long as I get pipe clips once it goes on here, steady everything up. Drill the hole and see what happens. I don't know if the phone's going to get it or not. There's the hole there now. It's just about, can't get the phone in. So, not far out that, boys. So you're doing just a wee, if I did one bit higher, I'd probably be too high. So that, I mean now, that pipe fit now, all I can do is bend that down the ways and put an old T-joint on. Will it line up? I think it will, you know. I think that'll be good. Maybe I should just go and start the plumbing. Actually disconnect the water and bend these down. Make the connections before I actually drill that hole the whole way through. I maybe got far enough now. When I get a few pipe fittings. Empty half my hot press here now. There's the next thing now. Look how that there's been leaking over the years, that there pipe. That's the original stop valve there. I'll get my torch. But can I turn it with my hand now? Yeah. Don't know how many years ago that's been turned. Got a new spanner on eBay. Got it reduced. Not eBay, Amazon. I say I'll turn this now. Look at the corrosion on it. You'll probably see this here starting to leak. It's always hard getting water stopped. And then if I get it turned off, it'll probably leak a wee bit. The valve inside could be starting to go. If it does, it means emptying the whole tank in the attic. I gotta go with this with two hands now. I have the hot tap running in my bathroom now. So what I've done, all I've done this here now is get my spanner, wriggle it back and forward. I'm wriggling it back and forward as I turn in that valve with my hand the right place. Turn it to the right, and hopefully then the water will stop. So starting to free up now, like. But because you're screwing it in the ways, I can do it now with one hand. Because you're screwing it in the ways, and that white stuff's going out further, it keeps staying tight. So when I screw this in now, if the water stops in the bathroom, that's the right one. Water stopping now. So that's it. That's the hot water turned off there. That's my, I labelled all them pipes when I did the back bar. I left them on, you know, they're coming in handy. So that's how I know where it's going. But the hot pipe coming out is over there. That's the one I'm breaking into. So the hot pipe over there is the one I'll be cutting under the bath. But if water can't get in, water can't get out. That's how that theory works. So now the cold water, now that's underneath my kitchen sink. I'll turn off the cold water. The kitchen tap's not turned off fully. That's not the kitchen tap, that's the stub valve to the house. It's not turned off fully. So we're going to have that water leaking all the time. I get the new pipe connected underneath the bath once I make the cut. The hot water is not as bad, but still leaking. It's probably that cold is so bad. Like, so when I cut these pipes, all the water that's from that height down is going to flow out. Plus then whatever's dripping at the minute, it's going to keep leaking at that rate. I'm going to be drilling where I let it drill at the far side, which is okay. But when I'm going to make the connections, it's going to be dust everywhere. It's going to be awkward. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'll take off this hot pipe first. That's not leaking as much. I'll do that with a wee spanner. I'm going to see if we get the hot one, see where it ends up when I twist it. I might not have to twist it down the ways. No point in going up. I had wide problems getting the connector off. Got it off. It's got an O-ring. See, the water hasn't turned off fully. It's got an O-ring that has to be cut off to get the push foot connector off. There's a chance the pipe might be too small, but because that's a push foot connector, the whole pipe's turning. So I'm having to hold the pipe back here, but not to damage the pipe, so the push foot connector won't fit on again without the damage bit. It's complicated or what? Wouldn't expect it to go easy, but we'll get there. Got it cut now. So it's a matter of getting it cleaned up now with a wire wall and get rid of these filings in there. A wee bit of wire wall, get it polished up, and that should be enough of a space to get that on. Where's my wire wall now? That's why I mean jobs, if you're doing it outside, but easy. It's just where you're working. Sinking all's in here, the battens of wood's in here. You know, I'm not as mobile as I used to be, like. And that's the worst thing about push fit connectors, nothing stays still. Even putting wire wall on, so I have to do that with two hands. Everything's two hands. Hot water's leaking pretty quick, and that was a slow leaking one. The cold one's leaking quicker still. I've got the pipe cleaned back pretty far back, pretty close to me. The closer I get it to myself, the easier it is to do things. Where that pipe is now, where is it? She might go over the top, so when I'm drilling the hole, it should be close enough. I'm going to cut this other copper pipe now and put in the T-joint and 15 mil. And the only thing is that I'm not 100% sure how deep the pipe goes into the fitting. You've only got one push in, as far as I know. So if it's too long, I don't know. Like, I just had to cut it and see what happens. But once I cut this, there's going to be a lot more water coming out. And look how quick that's falling up. Normally use a couple of towels. I just want to go on ahead and bore the hole now so I can get it done quickly before I cut that pipe. Because where the bit's coming through is pretty close. I might just bore the hole first, just purely in the fact there's water leaking everywhere. I'm going to try and record this. Never done this before with a big bit. Don't know if this machine's powerful enough. You've only got one go. You can't start off with a small bit and work your way up. Take it that self-tightens there. We'll find out. Got my ear protection up. Might wear put on a dust mask. Put a dust mask on. Dust mask on. Have to wait till I hit the pipes on the other side. If I did, at least I won't flood the house now. But you know what, I could bring it a wee bit closer to the wall, you know. I can take it out of the candle. wee piece of plywood. I wouldn't really reach in. I can put plywood between the pipe, but I wouldn't reach in. I'll take my time here. The wall is definitely deeper than that, so I can go the whole way in before I start being careful. See that, boy? See that? First time the clutch ever went in that. Never even knew it had a clutch. That wall wasn't there to hold that. I could have broke my wrist there. I see the butts coming through the other side. Hardly yet, but we'll just see. It's like a shallow tunnel. Let's all go at the dust out. Let's go and take away this, boy. Go and take away. Once I get the core, I've got to get it out of this butt. I can't go deeper than that unless I break this away. That's what's holding me back now. Now with a candle, probably am, you know. Break that off with the candle and then restart. So I've never done this before. You learn something new every day. That'll let us now go deeper now. I'm going to hold the drill upside down, so if it hits, if it's jammed again, it won't take my arm off. Level now, we check see if I stand for chuck coming through. How do I burst the pipes? You know what? It would really be handy if me just banging the rest of it with the candle. Mightn't be as neat like, but turn it off. Getting harder now to chisel it out. But I have the same problem when it comes to going through the cavity. wonder, is there much advantage to having a drill board? If it wasn't for the pipes, I could have drilled a whole pile of holes in that and just knocked it out. Can't say this is much quicker. What's sick? Well, I'm going to plaster the wall now. You see how hard that's going back there? Hell for the safety of that, boys. I tell you what, you wouldn't want to be doing an extractor fan that way. So normally you would have a wee teenager on the other side. Keep better from here, you know. I think I'm pretty close, but I don't see the bit going through. About an inch to go. So I can see from this side now. And you know what? The last inch might be plaster, so it might just fly. Damaging the pipe. We're very close at that now, you know. Because what happens, I'm looking at the metal core, but see it's cut deeper. We're very close, nearly through. Yeah, we have it. Oh, hasn't been taping. Oh, God knows when I knocked that over. There we are now. Here's the one I prepared earlier. There, the pipe's still leaking yet. So that wee bar now has to aim straight towards me. And when I cut that copper one there, this copper one, I cut that and put a T-joint, I want the pipe to come towards me. If they come in here, even if they come in here at this side, I'll bring them up and put stop valves on here. From there then we can tee off to the sink. It'd be handy if the hot was down lower and the cold out there, and then we can branch off them down to the top. If that works, then I'll just patch this up. The cupboard comes to here. I can put my hand down inside the cupboard and turn the water off. Plenty of the phone fell over there. Down over the critical bit. What the damage to the wall. She jammed up twice, 3 times. Twice, once really jammed up. And if I didn't have the wall, now the clutch did kick in, but only kicked in after I hit the wall. If I hadn't hit the wall, she could have hurt your wrist. Never knew that would kick back like that. So she just jammed and the draw went. So, all the years of using a draw, that's never happened. But I've never used a big bit like that. I'm going to have to use a smaller bit now. So maybe the smaller bit might be better to go in. The circle's not too good now, like, with me having to try and use this. So avoid using that one. And just use the flat-headed one, the one that's in there. This machine's roasting now. The neighbours is probably fed up with the noise. More cement dust. So I'm going to cut this pipe in there now. And I say this is going to leak a lot quicker. So I'm not going to tape the rest now. It's going to be a push fit, because once I cut this other one, it's going to leak really quick. And I want to get this pipe out here. The only advantage is it didn't have push fit 90-degree bends, and what I can't remember is a small one, maybe the big one. Have to use a compression fitting, but at least if it's in there, you can still get a spanner out of it, but you know, I will see.